20 minutes past the hour. You need to know this. Obamacare is working just fine. Yeah, you heard me right. Obamacare is working just fine, at least in the states that aren't run by the Tea Party. Now that the shutdown's over, the media has moved on to their next manufactured controversy. You know, we have media by spectacle, right? They got to have a spectacle. They didn't get their war in Syria. That would have been a great spectacle. It might have lasted a year or so. The spectacle before that was George Zimmerman. That was a nice spectacle. Oh, they had that short spectacle of the guy who kidnapped and raped the 3 women for 10 years. But that spectacle went away. He died. They had the spectacle of the shutdown, which they extended for 2 whole weeks by not telling Americans that if John Boehner just took a vote on the clean CR, it would have been over. So, the kabuki dance continued. The next manufactured spectacle is going to be, oh my God, the health exchanges aren't working right. Healthcare.gov doesn't work, right? I mean, right after the exchanges opened on October 1st, the newspapers and TV networks started talking about problems with the website. Sort of like Windows 8, right? Stories about healthcare.gov kind of fell into the background because of the shutdown, but ever since the shutdown closed up, the president signed that bill to reopen the government last Thursday. The cable news, they've decided this is going to be their new spectacle. The website isn't working. So much so that the president had to come out today and give a speech and talk about it and say, nobody's angrier about this than me, and therefore, heads are going to roll and things are going to get done. And I don't think he said heads are going to roll, but you get the point. And some of the problems, frankly, were pretty bad. Healthcare.gov was crashing. It was running slowly. It was sometimes giving users bad information about tax credits and things like that. So predictably, Fox News has jumped on these problems to make it seem like Obamacare is doomed. We couldn't kill it, so we're going to report on its death. Well, healthcare.gov's problems are embarrassing, and the Obama administration does need to fix them, and they did apparently a fairly major patch over the weekend. But here's the thing, and this is pretty amazing. Lost in all the very justified talk about how screwy the site is any talk about why the website is so screwy and who made it that way. I mean, remember, the healthcare.gov website was meant to be a portal. It's like you go to Google and you say Civil War. Google doesn't then tell you about the Civil War. It points you out to other websites that tell you about the Civil War. Well, similarly, healthcare.gov was supposed to be a portal. You go to healthcare.gov and you say, here's my social security number, here's my address, and I live in Nevada, and it would confirm that you were actually a citizen and that you do live in Nevada, and then it would send you to Nevada's website. It was just supposed to be a portal, like Google. It was never designed to bring together a bunch of different insurance policies and put them all in one spot. So when the government first set up the federal exchange system, it thought the states would, cooperate, set up their own exchanges. So the healthcare.gov's portal would verify people's citizenship and eligibility, sort of the way Google verifies that you're actually on the internet and you've actually asked that question, and then hand them off to the website of the state that they live in. And then that state's website would have its own unique database reflecting the different state standards for income eligibility, Medicaid eligibility, different health insurance companies that choose to participate in that state. So the states would bear most of the burden for building the individual exchanges because each one has different needs. Each one has to have its own website. So the Republicans figured, we can screw this one up. I mean, keep in mind, when Republicans are screwing up Obamacare, what they're doing is they're hurting you and me. They're hurting people who need health insurance. But they don't give a rat's patootie about that. This is all a political game for these guys. So the Republican-run states didn't cooperate. Tea Party Republicans convinced 36 states to not set up their own exchanges. Most of them have Republican governors. And they said no to helping out their own states. And because that happened, the federal government had to step in and do their job for them with the healthcare.gov website, which was supposed to be just like Google, just a portal. This meant plugging in a boatload of information about each of these 36 states' insurance rules onto one site, healthcare.gov, on very short notice. Building 36 separate websites are into healthcare.gov. That's a damn complicated thing. And we're sitting around going, hey, what's wrong? I'll tell you what's wrong. Republican state lawmakers decided to sabotage Obamacare. They decided that was more important than helping people get health care. This is the most important thing I'm going to say probably, well, certainly up to this point. You need to take this and use this and repeat it in Twitter and on Facebook and share it with everybody you know. And here it is. When Fox So-Called News and Republicans talk about how healthcare.gov is not working, they're not complaining. They're bragging. Obamacare is working just fine in the states that set up their own exchanges. That's how it was supposed to work. I mean, some of the state exchange sites have had a few bugs, but every website does when it first comes out. Jonathan Cohen wrote about this in the New Republic. He said, consumers are getting opportunities they never had before to shop for insurance, each one with clearly defined benefits. 180,000 people have completed applications for insurance in the state exchanges, and of those, 50,000 have enrolled. Of course, you're not going to hear that on Fox News. So today, in a speech at the White House, President Obama said that his administration is going to fix healthcare.gov. Let's hope that the president and his administration can get these Republican-caused Obamacare rollout problems sorted out quickly. And let's hope also that they begin to call out, this is the thing that was missing for me. I watched almost all of President Obama's speech this morning. And he never once said the Tea Party Republicans who convinced their states not to create exchanges caused this problem. I mean, he's really good at taking the blame and not blaming other people. But I really would like to see him or others in the administration start pointing out to these Republican states that didn't do exchanges and thus dumped that workload on the federal government. You know, to just point out where the real problem lies. It's with the Tea Party.